You want burgers, hot dogs, some chicken, and ribs. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Night of the Horrorphile. Yo,
hey,
what's up?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just suffering through the heat down here.
Oh God, what do you got?
Oh, it's like 110 here.
Where?
Tulsa.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's that good old southern heat where we all just stay inside like vampires for a while.
My God, 110. That's like, can't even imagine.
It was really funny because at the Jamboree, everybody was, talking about how hot it was, a lot of the people from up north. And I was like, I kind of just made a lateral move. This is kind of normal to me.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's wild shit.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, it's
Forget about it.
We need to move up north, actually. Like I've considered it in the past, moving up to New York or someplace higher up. But
yeah, it's not that bad here. It's like 80 something.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Like
30 degrees less.
Yeah, it gets so hot down here. There's just certain clothes you don't wear. Like
yeah, I can imagine.
But it's
out in heaven.
I know, right? It's good to talk to you again. This is awesome having you on the show. Yeah.
What a crazy week it was.
Oh my God. I'd never been to anywhere like any horror conventions or any conventions for that matter, anything like that. Cause it took me years to get over my social anxiety and all my hang-ups and stuff like that to get out to do something. But like, man, that was the best weekend I've ever had.
Yeah, that was a great time. I mean, even with, small behind the scenes, like logistical stuff, like, that we had to deal with, I had a fucking blast. I mean, I had a blast. It was better than the Mahoning by far.
Yeah. See, okay. So some people were telling me about the Mahoning because I didn't get to go to that one, but they explained it, the swamp at the Mahoning and stuff like that. They explained all that. That was a rough time.
Yeah, it was like, it was the yin and the yang. You had last year was the water, this year was the fire because of the heat, and it just was so much better because after the water and the mud and all that shit, the rain, it was just a little hard to handle as far as working in those conditions. But in the heat, we were able to work in the conditions a little better.
Yeah,
and just have a little more fun,
Right, because I feel like a lot of people, because with the music side of it, a lot of people kind of forget that like water is worse to do music out in than heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That was a little tough, but I mean, last year, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of fun to be had, but it was just like this one was a little more celebratory, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah,
a little more of a rock and roll show.
Yeah, that's what everybody kind of told me, and like that was the interesting part of the whole thing because it was hard to. Because I was telling people what I was doing over the weekend, and my parents would be like, "Well, what is that? What is the Jamboree? Like, what is?" I was like, "It's kind of a little bit of everything. It really was. It's you got a celebration of movies and horror, but also a celebration of the last drive-in, and then also music. Like it was."
Yeah, that was cool, man. It was. I feel like we sort of came into our own on this one as to what the Jamboree could be for the upcoming ones, and hopefully this sets the precedent of the amount of guests and the amount of cool things that happen.
Yeah, because that was another thing. Because like I said, I've never been to anything like this, and somebody was like, "That this is not like any convention you'll ever go to." Like,
oh yeah, no. This is a little, the convention side of it was great too. I mean, that was the first time I was ever a guest at a convention, and it was amazing. The people who ran it, Humble Entertainment, were awesome, and they just like treated us really well. Everything was really well organized. We didn't have to step in and help at all, which was that's a blessing to us. So that we were able to just concentrate on the drive-in portion and the performances and stuff. So that was really cool. And, you know, for me, like the first day I wasn't able to get to the table or anything and meet people. But on Saturday, Sunday, I pretty much was there as long as I could be. It was great. It was a constant influx of people, meeting people. I loved it.
Yeah, that was the coolest part, because like it seemed really well run. Even with like, because you know there's always complaints about the little stuff like the technical failures and stuff like that. But like I've never been to any kind of live event where that hasn't happened, unless you're talking like $1 million bands like Kiss and stuff.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and even they have their technical difficulties.
Right,
so it's just, you know, it's with a live thing, it's to be expected. It's just like, it's part of the charm of the whole thing is you get to see fucking Joe Bob mess up when, you know, or not, he doesn't mess up. He's in the midst of a mess up because of a technical difficulty, and you see how he handles it, because you don't get to see that on the show.
That
so it's a little peek behind the curtain.
Right. That was, and I'm a big fan, like people that listen to my show or our show here, Night of the Horrorphile, they know I'm a huge fan of how the donuts are made, you know, like getting to see that stuff and just standing off to the side and watching people try to, you know, rush to try to get some stuff going in the booth with all the electronics and stuff. Just watching that was fascinating.
Yeah, it's really you know, it is fascinating, and I think overall it was, you know, the general positivity for the event is it's kind of overwhelming. So I think there was more positive buzz, and if there was any negative buzz, it really was only like one or two really technical moments that, you know, like the sound didn't come on at first. I think, you know, small things like that.
Like I think the only real big negative I heard was Friday night, which was Halloween 3 night, which was a blast, but the projector was a little dim and stuff.
It was dark, and you know, that's sort of on the drive-in, because that's their department, you know, that was their like realm of taking care of that stuff, and they didn't say, oh, by the way, there's crazy noise pollution from the thing next door, or, you know, stuff like that. And we would have calibrated, or at least we would have figured out how to calibrate that. But they're the ones who are projecting the movie. So you would think that they know how to adjust for that light pollution.
Yeah, that's what was surprising to me, because like the light pollution was pretty heavy out there, but there's ways to get around that. And I was like, why aren't they? Are they doing that? But
it was weird. So
yeah, but as far as negatives, I think I only heard one negative thing. The rest of it was like I was explaining to my wife Brittany, who co-hosts the show with me. I was like, I think I finally understand the gathering of the Juggalos now after that, because that's what that's what it felt like to me. Which I guess we should be careful, or we might be declared a street gang at one point. But the Mutantfam, it feels like just one big ass family. Like you know, you're walking around, you're getting concessions and stuff, and you're just running into people, and you immediately start with conversations, because we all relate to each other in that way. And totally. And you know, running into what are celebrities to us felt like more like running into a buddy, like Jonah Ray, who was at the convention and at the drive-in and stuff like that. He was like, I've never met a person who I consider like such a high celebrity to be that down to earth, you know.
He was great. I mean, he really, and I spoke to him on an email quickly just to thank him, and he was like, I had a great time. It was seriously like just hanging out with friends at a music festival. And, you know, you could tell that it was more than just him being a guest. He was like really enjoying himself and having a great time. And I think that the fact that the mutants are all, you know, so-called mutants, are also friendly and cool and, you know, non-intrusive and don't really hassle. You know, they'll ask for you to talk and stuff, but you know, when it comes time to end the conversation, they understand the social cues, which is really good.
Right. And I think that comes from like relating to these people that work in this kind of industry and stuff like that. Cause it felt like I talked to Felissa Rose, who was down in cause when I first got there, we had just eaten dinner and we came to the lobby, and there you were passing out some beers and hanging out, which was great. And I was like, whoa, okay, I guess the party's here. So then I, you know, talked to you for a while, talked to some other people who were great out of towners for a little while. And then I run into Felissa Rose, who I started talking with her. And like she mentioned, it's not so much as like celebrities and fans, and it's more like one big collective group, because like the celebrities, for lack of a better word, are just like all of us. You know, we're all outsiders in this outsider genre, which normal Hollywood considers a gutter genre. And so it just felt like everybody was on the same level, which was very unique for something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was like, it was because nobody knew that the Hilton bar was going to close at 10.
That
so
was
everybody was like kind of disappointed because we were just getting to know each other for, 15 minutes, a half hour. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh God, we're going to end now. So it's like, no, I'll go upstairs and get my beers. You go get your beers. We come down, put them on the table, and everybody just has a fun little hang.
Yeah, and that was incredible. And I was like, wow, I don't like this is the start of the weekend. This is a good sign because this is wild, Yeah.
And then people all of a sudden had dark rum. They were making mixed drinks.
Yeah.
There was all kind of people brought their bars down. It was great.
Yeah, that was what I was like, wow, okay. We're just all hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just all hanging out in the lobby. Everybody's chilling. It was cool. And Fred Williamson, he tried to get a beer. The woman, the bartender, closed it down. And he was like upset. So I walked over and gave him a beer. I was like, great, thank you so much.
I remember that. because I thought it was wild that the bartender turned down Fred Williamson. I was like, oh,
I know.
Oh my God.
Like, of all people in this lobby, at least give him a brew.
Yeah, come on. Open
he
the
played
bar.
in Super Bowl I, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, that's what we were talking about, because when we got there, which Darcy had announced, I believe on Twitter or somewhere, that the hotel AC was down in the hallways and some of the rooms, because I think we were on the 24th floor, and that it was like going into the third circle of hell up there. But
oh my God, yeah, I don't know. There was like a big something happened to the Hilton that weekend. Yeah, the lobby air conditioning wasn't all there the whole time, and then certain hallways and rooms were completely down, and I guess they had to fix it, or I don't know if they solved your problem.
It felt like on Sunday, it felt like everything was kind of normalizing and stuff like that.
Yeah, the day we're leaving.
The day we're leaving, yeah. Which
no, but overall, the hotel and that convention portion was really cool. The breakfast was great.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for the employees there, because I was like, you could definitely tell they were short staffed. Because I know a lot of people were like, why is the hotel doing this? And I was like, I don't think it's them.
Yeah, and then on top of it, they had simultaneously another event, which was a beauty pageant for little kids.
That was.
And at first, people said little kids. I'm like, what do you mean, like baby goats?
Yeah.
But then I found out it's like John Benet Ramsey. Get it? Get what I did there?
Yeah, Ramsey.
It was fucking little kids running around and like Gringo Fantastico's in the hallway, and the kids are like, "Mommy!"
Well, because I remember somebody was explaining how to get to the breakfast buffet, or the lunch buffet at the time, and I was like, okay, so I take a right here, and I just wandered into a gaggle of like these little kids dressed in bikinis and stuff, and I was like, I got to get out of here. This is. It was. Yeah, I mean, it was wild.
It was hilarious. It was like little. It was like from like 2 to 18. And they just weren't prepared for the dichotomy of like a young kid beauty pageant versus a horror convention. It was just it was I think if somebody at the Hilton booked that as a big joke, they're like, let's put them together and see what happens.
Yeah, it did feel like that, because you walk into the lobby and it tells you where to go, and the convention's this way, and then it says like a freaking beauty pageant this way, and I was like, wow, this is a comedy.
Yeah,
but
amazing.
But I'd like to ask you, man. Okay, so the first night that you performed in that heat, dude, that was seriously a feat to me. Like I was wondering how you were doing it.
I was really into it, because it was hot and everything, but it was almost like nothing compared to that afternoon, because while we were setting up on Friday afternoon, pretty much from like 10 a.m. to, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 p.m., something like that, it was the height of the heat. I mean, we're talking 102, 103 degrees heat, and we're putting up tents, we're laying out tables, we're doing all kinds of the stages being built. So by the time that came for the musical performance around 7:30, it was seriously like just a beautiful temperature compared to that afternoon. So it was almost like, I got used to the heat, and now that it's a little cooler, I was fine.
Kind of eased you into it.
Yeah, eased me into it. Plus, I chugged, 10 Gatorades, and I was all hydrated, so I was ready to go. We were pretty. And also, like I said, versus last year where it was the monsoon,
right?
The heat was a little more welcoming because it was less uncomfortable than it would be if you were soaking wet.
Yeah, it was feeling like a swamp down there.
Yeah, I mean, you're still wet because of the sweat, but it's almost like you can keep that heat down by chugging like I said, Gatorades, waters, beers. And everybody was so generous with the beers. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. You had Eric
walking up and handing beers up.
He had Eric Butts wandering around with his beer bolero or belt.
Yeah, he had the beer belt going. Yeah. That was so cool. He was so generous. Gerald.
Yeah.
A lot of the people were just like, especially also during Hogzilla, when people just put the beers on the front of the stage as gifts to the people who did good riffs.
Yeah.
In the audience. That was really cool. That was like, that helped make the whole thing, because we had certain stuff to give away, which, Jonah had his shirts. I had a few VHS.
Right.
But then when it started to go, like, if you do a good riff, you get a beer, that really cemented the whole fun experience for everybody.
That was a wild thing, too, that I've never seen before, where, you're doing a riff, which Jonah Ray, you, I believe, Darcy and Austin were all on stage riffing Hogzilla.
Yeah.
With Joe Bob watching in the audience, which was a wild thing.
Yeah, it turned into a roast.
Yeah, and so like I'd never seen audience participation in a riff. Like that was a whole new experience.
Some of the best riffs of the night were the audience.
Yeah, was that planned that you guys were going to have a microphone set up? Like, was that pre-planned, or was that like
Austin
a last minute?
Austin had planned that for a while, saying, hey. It's a good idea because we have so many people that would be willing to participate. It'll make it fun. And Joe Bob loved it. He was sitting there. He had a smile on his face the whole damn time.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that was planned for a while. Austin Jennings, great idea.
Because, it was terrific, because it definitely made the feel of the last drive-in, like when we all get together on Twitter and we're just punching out jokes here and there and stuff like that. It definitely everybody felt at home while we were doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So like, so to put together something like this, festival and stuff, that's already hard to do. But like, did you guys run into any problems getting any guests, or like setting up like technical stuff besides the obvious, which the sound and the sites and stuff like that?
No, it's just, it's all just putting it together, keeping track of the logistics, getting the things done in time. There was a slight time crunch just with any event. You get to the end and you have to, dot the I's, cross the T's.
Right.
So that was a little hectic leading up. And then the thing that was the most stressful to me this time was the fact that we had to put on an event, but we also drove 20 hours in an RV. So leading up to it, it was a little, I don't know if I would necessarily go 20 hours in an RV before a big event like that again. It was a little taxing.
Yeah, because I believe you said something about running into the Moth Man.
Oh, well, you want to hear the real story? I mean, this is, so the night before I left, and this is just, my personal take. I don't know what the truth is, but I was like falling in and out of sleep, and my window shade was open so I could see sort of the trees that are outside by my apartment. And at one time I woke up and I saw these two red eyes staring into my thing from the trees. And they were like little red dots. But I was like, you know what? It's the color of the leaves or something or whatever. So I kind of shrugged it off and thought it was just weird, but it was very intense and very, surreal and almost real to me at that time. It was like a waking, they call it those waking night terrors, I guess, but I wasn't really that scared. So then the next day we drive about 6, 7, 8 hours. We get into West Virginia, and we're going to like stop and eat somewhere before we get back on the road. And somebody's like, "Oh yeah, this is the place where the Moth Man happened." And I'm like, I swear to God, I saw the Moth Man last night. I saw the Moth Man looking into my window with his red damn eyes. And now I'm in the freaking I'm in this town where Moth Man happened. This is not good. Yeah. So, but no, luckily nothing really bad happened. I just got a little freaked out thinking, so we left and everything kind of went all right after that. But it was the fact is I had never been in an RV at night and trying to lay down in the back. I didn't realize that the whole thing is like shakes, so you can't really sleep. It's just a constant of like I thought maybe they like fortified the RVs so that it wasn't like uncomfortable while you're driving, but no. So it could barely get any rest.
Yeah, a lot of people don't consider that because like you see in movies and stuff when people are in RVs and that stuff's all been fortified. So you're thinking,
like they're in like they're in an apartment or something.
Yeah.
No, the whole thing shakes. You could barely walk. So that was the biggest stress was the drive and doing it and then getting in and having to kind of like start working after a 20-hour drive is a little daunting. But luckily then that night after we worked a little bit, we got a night's sleep and the rest of it was pretty good other than the heat.
Yeah. Cause like that was another thing I was going to ask you guys. Like what did it feel like a party to you less than work or was it?
Yes. After Friday's like baking hot midday sun, setup where we were setting up the stage and a little, area for AV and all that stuff. After we concluded that, it just got so much better because it was fun. Everything after that was fun. And it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just the heat was just brutal. And doing all that manual labor in the heat is just that was really tough. But once that was over, it was definitely a party. I mean, for me, I had a great time.
Yeah.
And then even the breakdown was cool. Like it wasn't as hot. We had to drive home again, but the drive, we had already done it. We didn't really have any, we could stay overnight, we didn't have to rush. Right.
There's a lot more lax atmosphere when it's time to go. Like, that's what I was wondering. Cause you could tell a few people were getting real tired by the end. Like Joe Bob, I could definitely notice he was getting a little tired there at the end, but he was still having a ball.
It's a rough schedule. If you really think about what the schedule for that day is for somebody like Joe Bob, it's like 11 a.m. to like 3 a.m. and it's just nonstop. And that's tough. That's not an easy day of work. Even if it is fun, it's still exhausting. I mean, you got to be on not only while meeting the fans and stuff, but you also have to be on while doing the show. And that's a lot. It's really a lot. Yeah. I mean, one of those things would be a lot in a day. Oh, and you combine them. It's crazy.
Totally. Because that was one thing we all talked about. It was like the dedication that Joe Bob and Darcy give to all of us fans and stuff. And you guys as well. Oh, yeah. It's insane. I've never heard of someone being that dedicated before. Like you said, it was like every time I turned around, there's Darcy and Joe Bob. You were never far away from them at any time. And you're like, when did they sleep?
It's because you like it. It's because this is also, I'm sure it's fun for Joe Bob and Darcy too. It is a party. And when it's fun, it's the best, it's the best thing to do possibly. So, yeah.
So are you what about meeting? Because I feel like for you, because we kind of talked in the lobby about this, for you, a lot of people consider you the celebrity mixed in with the last drive-in, but you're also kind of a fanboy living out a dream here as well.
Yeah, 100%. If I wasn't on the show, I would absolutely be a fan of the show, be watching the show, possibly even coming to the Jamborees if I could afford it, So I'm the bridge between, I guess, being on the show and being of the people, of the fans, because seriously, it's just I was in the right time, right place to get this job to begin with.
Yeah.
And now that I get to do all these things, that's the reason why I want to help make the show, or not even just the show, but the Jamborees as fun and exciting as they could be, as much as I can, because if I showed up to it, I would want it to be fun and exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I dance around with a stupid Michael Myers mask on for 15 minutes, because it's like, I want to dedicate myself to having people have an experience. And even if it's like the Michael Myers thing, everybody was sitting down. I wasn't sure if it was going over well. But afterwards, people came up to me. It was like, that was hilarious. That was such a fun way to kick it off. I don't know how you did that in the 100-degree heat with the mask on.
That's what we were all talking about, because I was like, oh my God, he's got the Myers mask on. And then I was like, oh my God, it's hot.
Yeah, it was hot. But so that was sort of a last minute ask, because we just needed to like extend it so that because we wanted to make sure that Tim Capello went on after dark.
Right.
We didn't want him in the sunshine. His portion should be after dark. So we built in an extra, 15 minutes to make sure that happened. And I put together that set. If I had thought in advance, really thought about it harder, I probably would have cut the DJ set in half and just talked a little more during the set to cover those 5-10 minutes instead of jumping around in the heat. But luckily, Yuki helped me out. He came on stage and shook the maracas, and Kathleen Turner was there in her cutout. So there were things that helped get me through it.
Oh man, that was funny, because I sent a picture to Brittany. She stayed home with the kids, and she was like, "Is that Kathleen Turner?"
Yeah.
It's like, yes,
yeah, that was because the second day we got in after we slept a little bit. Mm-hmm. Me and my girlfriend Liz had like an hour or two spare before we had to really start working. So she was like, "You want to go to this antique mall real quick and see what's there?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely, let's go." And that's where I got all the VHS tapes and stuff. But also the first thing that I saw when I walked in there was the Kathleen Turner, V.I. Wachowski stand-up cutout.
Wow.
And I said, this is coming with me. And it was 50% off, so it was only $15.
Oh, damn. Yeah, and it fit the set for some reason. It just felt like it belonged there.
Yeah, it totally was great. And then at the end, Axe Slasher decapitated her during the set. Chopped her limbs off, but Jimmy Detroit gathered the pieces, had people sign it, and now he said next time he's going to sew it together like Frankenhooker and bring it back to the next Jamboree.
Yes, I was there, because I was there when he had Honey. I believe she got the sign, Honey from Monster Vision for everybody, but she got to sign like a calf or something.
Yeah, everybody signed little different pieces of it. It's hilarious.
Which that was another thing.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Well, that was another thing. Like, speaking of, Honey and like all the guests and stuff like that, they weren't just like, you'd only see them at the convention or stuff like that. I was running into, I ran into Honey right after the mosh pit during the Axe Slasher set.
Yeah, she was moshing. He was headbanging.
Yeah, and she was we were talking about it and stuff like that, and it was wild. It's like talking to one of your buddies. Again, it's like one big family. With the live performances and stuff. So one thing that was hilarious was you guys had for Bubba Hotep, the day of that, and plus we're in Memphis, so why not? You had a Elvis impersonator. Yeah.
Elvis Brad Rouse is his name. R-O-U-S-E, Brad Rouse.
That guy.
Or Ruse, I don't know.
I don't know, but that guy was dedicated, because I ran into him before his set and stuff like that while you guys were performing, and I was like, I wonder when Elvis is going to come on. And I just hear Elvis start talking to me, because I can't do the voice, but he's just sitting there telling me when and everything like that. And I was like, wow, this guy is so dedicated. He's doing the voice.
Oh, yeah. Yep. He's dedicated. He came in. He talks over the phone like that. He came in like that. He was ready to go. I mean, this was his time to shine. We had him do a sound check with Blue Suede Shoes with the band, and then when it came his turn to go, he went.
Oh man,
he didn't stop either.
No, you had to James Brown him off the stage. I remember that, because he kept taking the encores.
Yeah. Yep, he's like, should I do one more? And I was making how you like do the thing at your throat, like cut it, and he just was like, all right, one more, and Sweet Caroline comes on, and I turn around and Joe Bob's like, get him off the stage. So I had to think of something, so I got the Hogzilla shirt and I James Browned him, but it was good because that added a lot to the show, and I mean, it was so fun and people loved it. I mean, even though he did only 3 Elvis songs out of 7, most of them were covers. It was so freaking good. And I think that he had a great time, because that was like, you guys were such a good crowd and everybody was into it, singing along with him.
That was cool too, because I was like, I was hoping, because again, I've never been to anything, especially anything to do with the last drive-in live or anything like that. So I was hoping, I was like, I hope the crowd's real good, because I was like, I kind of want to get in there and jump around and stuff like that, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah. The crowd was so freaking energetic, like,
oh yeah,
and with you guys are like. We talked a long time ago when you were first on this show, when I had you on, when I was doing interviews and stuff like that. And we talked about Ween and how like they're so much more energetic in person. And that's how you guys, the Bigfeet, and you were like, you're just so much more rock and roll in person. And it was great.
Yeah, thank you. That was a conscious decision on all of our parts to like, even the songs that are on pre-recorded songs that we would put out on, say, Spotify or something. We want to amp them up to be more rockin', to be live, because, even the slow ones, we want to be a little anthemic and, people pumping their fists and jumping around to them.
Yeah. And that's what was great, because like all of us, it's so funny because most of us that would rush the stage and stuff and we're dancing out there, we're all like, mid 30s to 40s and stuff. So we would start the mosh pits and then all of a sudden the heat, and we would get tired. So we'd have to take a natural low.
Exactly. I realized during the first one, when people started jumping around and stuff, I was like, by the way, you got to stay hydrated. I just needed to like, give that little thing. And then somebody said something like, blah, 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 should stage dive. And I was like, we don't have insurance for that. I realized that if it really didn't come down to it.
You're like, wait, responsibly. Party responsibly, please.
Yeah, so I was glad that, like, any of the circle pits that happened were pretty much just people running in circles, which is safer than, doing that slam dance and stuff.
Yeah, because we did a little bit of the slam dancing, but it was mostly, what can you do? Because the ground wasn't flat. I think that's another thing, because the way the drive-in is shaped, you have the parking hills where you can see the screen,
right?
And so you can't really get something like that fully going without hurting each other, and so we kind of started, and then we were like, oh, let's ease out.
Yeah, I was glad it just was a natural, like it was basically became a joke, like even during when we sang "Happy Birthday" to that little girl Cameron, and Jimmy's like, you got to start the circle pit, like during Happy Birthday. So it became a running joke, and it was very fun.
Yeah, that was one of, God, I don't think I've seen a live performance like that in a long time. Like just a loose live, just everybody vibing everything in quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, it was last year was cool, and it was like that, like people just hanging out and like sort of dancing in place. This one, people were a little more active, and I liked that a lot, because it was just like, I don't know, because at first everybody was sitting down, and I made that comment about like, I saw Paul McCartney once, and everybody sat down, and somebody yelled at the person during Twisted Shout, I want you to stand up, and people did. They were like, okay, we'll stand up.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, because at first we were all like, well, do we go up there? Because I want to go up there. And I was like, well, I don't want to be the only one. And then somebody would start it. Like one person would take the grenade and jump in.
Enrique was on the second night. He came up and everybody followed him.
Yeah, everybody rushed in. But that was amazing. And seeing Tim Capello live, like that is something. That is something I don't think anybody had on their bucket list here, because that was the highlight to me, because I'm sitting there, I've been talking back and forth with him for a while about this, and we've been sending him MP3s of us practicing, and he's like, yeah, I got it, I'm good. So we didn't even rehearse in person, other than, he probably just played to our MP3 to rehearse, and it came out fucking awesome. It was he was like jumping off the furniture and doing all kinds of stuff. I see, because I again, you see him in the Lost Boys, and that's most where all our introductions was to him. But like, I was like, I wonder how that's going to be live, and it was fantastic. He's still got it.
He's got it. Yeah, and he's such a cool dude. I mean, so apparently he gave some advice to Yuki that came down from Tina Turner. So Yuki and Tim Capello were getting driven back to the hotel. And Tim Capello says to Yuki, like, man, they love you out there. You gotta keep going forward, and you gotta keep doing this. And he says, you can't mess with success. And he said, that's what Tina Turner told me 35 years ago. I came in and I had a different haircut and I got rid of the chains. And Tina Turner told me, you can't mess with success. You're the tough guy. So I went back to Home Depot and I've been putting chains on ever since. And I put my hair in a ponytail. And so he basically gave that advice to Yuki. So Yuki got advice from Tina Turner through Tim Capello, which I think is the greatest thing.
That's wild. I really love that Yuki got to come this time, and we all got to meet him, because like you could see his face was lighting up when you'd approach him and stuff.
He loved it. He absolutely loved it, and he loved meeting everybody. And yeah, he had a great time, and he kind of didn't understand, even though we had sent him videos of everybody chanting his name and stuff. He didn't understand that he had this like kind of a fan base. And now I believe he understands, and hopefully he gets out to more conventions and stuff so he can meet more people.
Yeah, because I mean, what a nice. I mean, all of you guys are just so freaking welcoming and nice. And Austin Jennings he doesn't have to stop and talk to you in the hotel lobby when he's trying to get to a show, but he did. And that was it. It's been like such a enlightening experience. I know a lot of us we came away with something much more than just, oh, I met Tom Atkins, or, I met these guys. That was fun. I got some autographs. We came away with something even better than that. And I don't know, we've all been kind of chatting online and stuff like that, to where it's like, well, what the hell do we do now? Like,
I think hopefully we do more of these events, and I hope that we have, not just the Jamboree. I hope that there's more stuff that we can put together, for live events, and everybody comes through and we get to go to different parts of the country and just like party with everybody, because that's the overall atmosphere. It's just, party like jungle animals. It's built into the drive-in oath. So, I'm ready to keep rocking shows and doing fun stuff. And I believe that the other people are as well. So we just have to keep pushing forward. And as long as you guys keep requesting it and wanting it, I think we're going to kind of just keep doing it,
Right. Because it's like I said, it's just one big ass family. Like that's how it felt. That's how the atmosphere felt. And I think these days, with the uncertainties and all the political craziness, like we all kind of need something like that. Something to where
totally.
It's like,
and it wasn't, you're right. You know what? That's a good point. There was no heated discussions about anything heavy. It was all very light and all very much about celebrating the things we love, which are these awesome movies, this show, music, fandom, so people who are celebrities that we really respect,
Right.
The filmmakers that were honored with the Hubbies, all that stuff. It's a celebration of the genre and a celebration of the fans too. I mean, without the fans, it would be nothing. So
right. Because and it was a true celebration. That's what was awesome. There was no infighting. Hell, even though like most of us, I didn't drink, but like everybody, well, I was on edibles most of the weekend, but I didn't drink, but like, even though everybody's drinking and having a party, nobody got into fights. There was no negativity. Like there was no infighting, which is something that when you talk about fans and fandoms these days, like infighting seems to go hand in hand with that. Like you can't go to like a Star Wars group chat and have a good time. Like you're going to get
I think online it's a whole different experience, because once you're in person, you can, like, sometimes I feel like online you read something somebody said and you put your own inflection into it, and you sometimes get it wrong. I think in person, when you see somebody and you're arguing about Halloween 3, it's fun because everybody's joking and you can see how they say the line. Maybe the line is said with a little sarcasm, or that you wouldn't catch online or stuff. So that's why I think in person it was so much better. And there wasn't, I didn't hear any reports of people fighting or any of that stuff, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So hopefully, it's like, forget Woodstock 99. We did we did a Woodstock 69.
I know, because like
What,
somebody posted a picture of me, Eric Butts. I think Gerald was there too, and we just looked insane. And I was like, it's one of these pictures that I can like show my grandkids in years from now and just be like, well, you just had to be there.
Yeah, you had to be there with these people who have similar tastes and just friends that you never knew you had and now you have forever.
Yeah, which is that's wicked, man. You don't encounter that in life nowadays, especially because, like you said, on Twitter and on the web and stuff like that. You don't get what we all require as human beings, which is an interaction and because we're social creatures. Yeah. So we need that, and I think a lot of people are afraid to kind of get out and do that for the most part, which is it's detrimental to your health.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is like we've had enough negativity for these past 2-3 years of this whole pandemic garbage. I mean, let's bring the positivity back. Now that we're allowed to be back out and in groups, let's make it fun.
Yeah, exactly. Because we do not need any. I mean, the world's gonna take care of itself. We just need to take care of each other.
There's plenty of negativity. Let's not feed into that crap.
Yeah, because. But no, I'm mesmerized after that weekend. Like I was like, wow. And Sunday, speaking of the filmmakers and stuff, the hubbies, that was as a filmmaker myself, that was so fucking inspirational. Like I came away with so much more as a filmmaker than I would have if I just stayed at home and maybe chatted with people online. Like I got to talk with people who were doing it, and like we bounced ideas off each other. Now I have a whole network. It was so much connections and stuff. Like you get a little emotional thinking about it. But
totally. I mean, here's a personal connection. I didn't know that Josh Stifter got in until like a week before the event, and Josh Stifter and I had a podcast that we did together called The Escalator Pitch.
I remember
that we're actually going to bring back thanks to this weekend. So we awesome. Met up with, it was the first time we ever met in person. We had only known each other through like trauma stuff and emails and then doing the podcast remotely. So it was just like a really cool homecoming to be like, yeah, this guy's been my friend for like 4 years and I never met him in person. And now he's like being honored by Joe Bob, him and his friends, Daniel Degnan and Nathan, just because they made this great movie called Greywood's Plot, and it got in. So it was like it was cool for me to be able to get that sort of a personal connection, like kind of come full circle.
Yeah, and just getting to watch, because I stood. It was kind of surreal because I got to stand with some of the filmmakers while they were watching their own movie, on the drive-in screen, and just to see their face light up like that, because that's another thing nobody considers is like. A lot of these guys, like me and stuff like that, we make all this stuff outside the boundaries and it's genre films and stuff like that. And a lot of festivals don't kind of consider that. So like with the Jamboree and stuff, a lot of people who probably wouldn't have got their film seen very much, they got it on the big screen with an audience. And that's amazing.
Yeah, that's why I love the fact that drive-ins are kind of coming back. You got stuff like this film festival that Joe Bob just did with the Hubbies. Right. You got stuff like Trauma Dance that is happening this very weekend at the Mahoning. And that is, I mean, almost more amazing to get it on a drive-in screen than on just a regular movie screen. Because there's something so magical about the drive-in. And I hope that more festivals sort of pick up that mantle and use that sort of drive-in mentality to feature more independent works, because right now there's so many movies being made and some of them are amazing and they just don't get the exposure that they should because somebody like Joe Bob or Lloyd Kaufman doesn't find them because they're not, it's either lost in the shuffle or whatever. So hopefully more of these festivals can pop up because they're definitely a sustainable thing because people want to be featured.
Right. And that's the crazy part too, because like you said, there's all these amazing movies being made. Because I hate when someone says, you know, like, oh, there's no good movies being made. I was like, yes, there are. You just gotta look for them. Like you gotta really hunt, which is sad. Because you would think with the connectivity we have with the internet and stuff, you would think it'd be a lot easier to find those movies, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's coming. I hope that some sort of some sort of a thing happens where these independent films get seen again and there's a resurgence.
Right.
But it's just so many. So there has to be curation. And that's why stuff like the, Joe Bob's Festival with the Hubbies and the Troma-thon and all that stuff are really, really special because of the curation. And I hope that more people decide to do that and curate and focus on these really underseen masterpieces.
Yeah, because like and plus I hope that happens for filmmakers like me who like I said, I came away with so much more than just autographs and stuff. It's so inspirational that don't make excuses. If you're a filmmaker, don't make these excuses of, well, nobody's ever going to watch my stuff and stuff because
you and I were talking about your movie, and I really hope that you took that. And Jonah Ray was giving you advice. I hope that you take that advice and really hunker down and make it happen, because you know what, you can.
Yeah,
there's no reason not to in this day and age. You definitely can do it.
Yeah, totally. And I was like, well, as soon as I got home, because Brittany's like, well, when are you gonna? I was like, I'm getting started now. And I just sat down, and started networking. Yeah. And so that's what I've been doing. I've just been busting ass because I'm like, well, I can do it. Like, there's no excuses.
You can.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't come out the way that you envision in your head, no movie comes out the way that any artist envisions in their head, because half of the battle is trying to, battle the elements, or one day that you want to shoot a sunshiny location is going to rain pour on you, and you have to figure out another way to shoot it. And sometimes you got to get creative, and sometimes those creative solutions help your art.
Right.
So any precious thoughts about what your movie's going to be, hold on to some of them and make your movie at least interesting, but things are going to happen, and you're going to have to kind of, you're going to have to lateral move a lot of the times, and figure out solutions to problems that you didn't even know existed.
Right. And like you said, like that's part of the adventure, I think, of filmmaking. Like it just,
and a lot of times it makes it better.
Because I believe if like movie making and like hitting the grind and stuff, I think if it was easy, then it probably would be less special when you have something to show for at the end of all your efforts.
I don't know who said it, but it's like, it's a miracle whenever a movie gets made, and it's even more of a miracle when they're actually good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you see a bad movie, those people worked their balls off to make that movie. Even though it's bad, it just didn't work. But that doesn't mean they didn't slave and sweat and tears and put all their hopes and dreams into it. And sometimes things just don't click.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, because that's one of the reasons I find it hard to hate on anyone's movie, especially indie filmmakers. It's hard to hate on them because just how much fucking work they put into this. And like you said, it just didn't click this time, but doesn't mean the next time it won't. I've met...
Right, or it doesn't mean it doesn't click for a couple of people in one section of the world, and another section of the world, they don't get it because they're not ready for it. Or there's so many reasons.
Right, because I've met a few filmmakers that they've done one movie and it wasn't really well received and stuff like that, but it's kind of like they've stopped, and I was like, no, you need to keep going. I was like, because if everybody stopped at their first movie, like there wouldn't be John Carpenter's or something, like
sure, Dark Star. I mean, look at that first movie compared to where he went with Halloween and all that stuff. It's like night and day.
Right. But man, again, like just the things that you guys do and the things that Joe Bob does, I think it means so much to people like me and the fans and stuff like that. I don't think we could thank you enough for giving us just a little bit of light in the dark.
Well, that's very nice of you. And I'm a small part of this thing, and I'm really grateful to be here. But I think Joe Bob, I can only theorize that he's, trying to make up for lost time. There was a little bit of a gap between Monster Vision and the last Drive-In. And now that he sees that there's, so many fans and so many people, he wants to do as much as he can to meet as many people as he can.
Yeah.
So I think he's really doing a great job. Hopefully he takes a little vacation every once in a while.
That's what we were saying. Cause there for a second, we were like, he should go sleep. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure after, because he is, I don't know his exact schedule, but I'm sure he has a built-in buffer where he's going to relax for a minute.
That's good. Yeah. Cause we need him to relax,
Yeah. And then, we've been renewed for season 5, so everybody can look forward to that. That's official. So at the very least, even without these live events, we're going to get a whole nother season, a few specials,
right?
And then a whole season of Joe Bob Last Drive-In.
Right. I thought about having Austin on to talk about like maybe theories and plans, because I know you guys can't drop what the plans are. I mean, that would ruin the surprise. Right. But like just kind of talk, like theorize what's going on and stuff like that. Is there anything that you wish for this upcoming season that you wish would happen? Like what would be one thing you would absolutely love?
I always say that my dream episode, which will probably never happen because of rights issues and stuff, is we already had a musical night, but like you go even further into the musical night and have it be open up with Phantom of the Paradise, Brian De Palma movie, and you have Paul Williams, the star of that movie, as the guest.
That would be amazing.
And then that would be amazing. And then the second feature would be Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now that's just my dream of dreams. I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Yeah.
But as far as other stuff that I would like to see, I would love Burial Ground. I think Burial Ground is one of the most underrated zombie movies, if not horror movies. I just think it's such a great movie, and that the fans would have such a good time with it, and Joe Bob would have such a good time, letting people know the information about it. Right.
That was kind of like how you guys did with Messiah of Evil. I've always thought that was a movie people slept on for the longest time.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because that's where my love is, with the 70s weird, trippy movies, like the stuff that really gets to you.
Yeah, that's the stuff I love.
But yeah, I know I speak for everybody. We can't wait to see what's up for season 5, and hopefully, which I'm sure it's going to happen. I think hopefully we all see each other in person again next year.
I'm pretty sure that there's a great chance that's going to happen. I don't see, maybe slight changes. I don't know what the next drive-in will hold. Right. I'm pretty sure it won't repeat in Memphis, because I remember Joe Bob saying a while ago, before the first Jamboree, that it would be cool to move it around the country so that different people could get different opportunities. So, you could do one in Texas, you could do one on the West Coast. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was announced for like something in those locations.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, because I was like, you could do Tulsa, you could do Texas, and you could do the West Coast, like stuff in California or Vegas. Like there's so many drive-ins through that little, it's almost like a belt of drive-ins that you guys could hit, so everybody has a chance to come on out.
Exactly. And then, once you get those locations, then you just start all over and go through the motions again. You do the East Coast, the Middle, the West Coast, the Texas. Be a lot of fun. Oh yeah. Well, John, I got to thank you for coming in and just doing a little recap here. Wait, that was the interview? I thought we were just shooting the shit. That's how the show works, man. This whole time? Yeah, that's how the freaking show works, dude. We are a relaxed atmosphere show. There's no weird. Yeah, ease right into it. That's good. Yeah. That's good. I like that. Yeah, we do. I think when I interviewed Lloyd, which I regret every minute of the technical problems of that, because I didn't get the audio came out garbled. It was corrupted. Mm-hmm. But with him, he was like, is this a regular interview? He was like, we're just talking like friends here. I was like, yeah, that's how that's honestly how I like to do these things, just because that's how you roll. Yeah. I could sit here and ask you a million questions about what's your favorite this and that, but that I'm sure everybody's heard that. Yeah, you never know. Another day, another dollar.
Exactly.
We'll go through it all. Just let me know.
Yeah, I might actually have you on again, maybe for a regular show, like to sit here and talk about movies with Brittany, because I don't know if you've listened. I mean, you do you've luckily you've luckily let us use one of your songs as the theme song, which is it's now permanent because everybody's like, because I was like, well, I'm gonna pay his fee so he can do an original song for the show. And then everybody was like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that to us. I was like, oh, okay.
I like Barbecue Maniac.
Yeah.
That's one of the first songs I ever wrote. So
it's now fits with the show apparently. So we're going to keep it
beautiful.
there.
I love it.
But yeah, you'll have to hop on maybe a regular show when Brittany's here and we can talk about a movie. Cause that's kind of what we do. I sit there and do a Joe Bob spiel about the making of and stuff, because I have no social life, so that's all I do is movies.
Yeah, same here.
But anyway, man, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it so much, taking some time out of because I think you're taking a vacation right now, right?
Yeah, I'm about to head off into a couple of trips through the beginning of August and just, kind of relax after all the buildup for the Joe Bob's Jamboree. Right. Now it's time to sit back, have a couple of brewskis, look at the stars, and then get back to work in August.
Right. All right, man. Well, thank you. Thanks. By the way, I wanted to thank Liz for being so nice and warm at the Jamboree too, because she was amazing.
Yeah, that's great. She had a great time. And she loved meeting everybody. So that's nice that you say that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, again, I think I thanked you like 5 times, but I'll let you go. Get back to your life.
Yeah, anytime. I'm around. Hit me up. Hit me up all over the place. I'm at Bad Techno all over the social medias. I'm around. Anybody who wants to hit me up, Let's party.
And also, be sure to check the show notes of today's episode, because I'll have the links to his music that you can purchase at Bandcamp. And
thank you very much.
Oh yeah, you gotta. The music rocks.
Oh, thank you so much. More to come.
Oh yeah,
we're working on the Drive-Through Will Never Die.
Nice.
Me and the Bigfeet. Hell yeah.
Have a good one, man.
You too, man. Talk to you later.
Talk to you. See ya. Thanks for listening. To get a hold of us and submit your stories, fan mail, and death threats, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and nightofthehorrorphile.com. Our theme song was written and performed by John Brennan, used with permission. Find John at shopjb.bandcamp.com and at badtechno.com. If you like what you hear, leave a good review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share the show on your social media. See you next week.